Just there to throw away money.
Yeah. Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of the Ghost Comms podcast. We're back doing our weekly structure, hopefully. We've said that, I don't know, 2 or 3 times now, but we're going to get into it. We've got a special guest today, a friend, a personal friend, and a friend of the show. We have ex-Nerve, ex-PL, ex-Prodigy.
Bro, just might be org on there at this point, bro. Like,
Yeah, you
No,
know,
I wasn't tossed around like that.
a veteran owner, and experience in the space. We have Sad with us, SaddQT. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
So, what have you been up to recently? What's life?
Just went to California this weekend. It was a short trip. Went to go do some family business, and some brother saw his girlfriend, and I spent $200 at Rip and Dip.
Nice.
But I tried to find some shoes, and I went down the whole entire Melrose Strip, and I just couldn't find a single store that had my size, so it was GG's.
What size
Other than that, I'm size 12.
Oh damn.
Other than that, I've been been working hard on bringing pipeline back.
Damn.
Been busy with school.
Oh my god, leaked.
Exclusive here first. No. Yeah, you know the rumors, the tweets have been floating around, so this is a thing that's happening. This is an effort that's actually come to fruition.
Yes, this is correct. All original owners are coming back. Avaf, Jank, Vishals, and me. But some new ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Everything so far is going smoothly. I have branding should be finished by this week, so we'll see where we are.
So that kind of transitions into the first thing that I wanted to talk about and get on, is ownership, your experience in it, and just kind of where you're at with it now. You have a lot of experience in the Fortnite space specifically, but just in esports in general. How are you approaching PL 2.0, let's call it, differently? Like, what are the main lessons that you're dragging in, and what's the kind of the thought process going into, how you're going to make PL 2.0 work? And I mean, you haven't been the reason that all of the previous orgs you've been on have shut down. You're actually usually the reason that they begin to fall apart. But how are you going to go about trying to change what seems like an inevitable fate for organizations, especially in the Fortnite scene?
So the problem with Fortnite organizations is that they logistically don't know how to plan anything.
Yeah.
They just go out, see who they want to spend money on, and they just buy a contract and just give it to them, and that's it. Right? After a few months of them not doing anything, that player, they just end up coming short, not being able to play people. Prodigy.
Yeah.
It's just, you have to logistically be months ahead, know how much everything's going to be, including GFX, everything. You just gotta logistically plan for everything possible. I think that's one of the biggest things that I think we're gonna implement in pipeline this time, because last time we didn't really do that. It was day to day. It wasn't very organized of who, when, someone needs to get paid, etc.
I would say this is how I think I would go about summarizing it is, there's a distinct lack of this idea of running things like a business. And maybe that's due to lack of understanding. Maybe that's due to not wanting to feel maybe the pressure or the structured control of having to run it like a business. But at the end of the day, that's what I feel like is the greatest failure, is that, it's these Twitter teams or friend groups that want to take it the next step, but they don't make all the changes necessary in the structure of how they do things for that next step to be sustainable, let alone profitable. And in profit, I mean, in esports, it's just something that is almost a fairy tale at this point.
It's a fairy tale, but it happens. If the big
Yeah.
teams are breaking even or even making a little bit more money, you know, it's happening. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sure it's the people that benefit the most are the people that are contract, you know, have
Yeah.
contracts with the team or work for the team, right? The real owners really don't make anything up from it.
Yeah.
But you know, the thing is with these esport organizations that are huge, the reason they're successful is because they show they obviously they went out of pocket first, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pocket first, and then they had something to show for it and partnered up with people that would just be able to use them as marketing tools.
Mhm.
All esports organizations are just marketing objects at this point.
Mm.
Right.
Every single big org has a brand attached right next to them,
Yeah.
blasted onto every single GFX, every single jersey, etc. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. And I mean, that's, uh, I talk about this a lot in the sister industries or the mirror industries of traditional sports versus esports. And when you look
right?
at traditional sports, um, you have three main kind of revenue streams for a traditional sports um, organization. You have events, sponsorships, and merch.
Right.
With esports, and spot and events are the biggest contributor to that revenue for
Yep.
sports organizations. So with esports, you have, and I was watching this site. The way I'm articulating this is not original to me. I was watching a video earlier today. I'll maybe link the video down in the description because I can't remember who it is off the top of my head right now. But it was the thesis was about where esports is and why the person making the video actually thought that esports was about to see another boom and not that esports was on the decline. So I watched this whole video and it was very intriguing. But he was saying that the biggest thing, for sports organizations is the events, right? If you go to an
Yeah.
NFL game, they're
Yep.
selling out every game. They have season tickets and they have, the vendors and they have so much going on in that physical environment. And that's where the biggest chunk of money is because it's an event to go. It's a social event or it's anything from the most dedicated fans in the world to a first time experiencer of the NBA or the NFL or whatever is able to all be in the same place. And then they purchase jerseys and food and all that. There's so much money pumped in a single night event.
I mean, you see it with the CDL.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's why teams bid for the spots to host an event because they get to host a venue, get to sell their merch,
Right.
get to sell the food,
Right.
get to sell the tickets. Sure, some of it goes to the CDL, and they're actually working out a better deal so where they profit more instead of
Yeah.
the CDL taking exactly 50%. I don't think that's
Yeah.
fair. What makes it league is the teams, right?
Mhm.
It's just I feel like these game developers, these sponsorship brands, and everybody needs to see it that a team needs to have a bigger cut than they do, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because you'll end up making more money than you invested anyways. You're just
Yeah.
being greedy by taking more from the profitability of the orgs.
Yeah. I think you touched on a really good thing there. And I think one of the issues is that the developers need to begin visualizing esports and esports divisions and departments of their company as a marketing campaign. They shouldn't
Yep.
think of it as something that's going to produce
Revenue.
tangible profit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about exposure, right? I mean, you look at all of the top, any top game, and it's like people watching that thing at the top level is going to get a good amount of the population of that viewership invested to then want to play the game. And that's what's going to, like you take a Fortnite, right? If you have clicks streaming grand finals to 100,000 viewers, what percentage of those 100,000 viewers are going to want to start playing ranked now? And then they're going to buy skins when they play the game. And that, so then there's your revenue right there.
Right.
So it's like,
Right. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Clicks has 100,000 viewers playing, and each tournament has 100,000 people playing it as well. Like, you have a good split of people watching and playing the tournaments. You should obviously see that, oh, okay, esports is bringing a lot of people to my game.
Right.
Yeah.
And the whole thing of like developers are inhibiting esports because they want to maintain the casual aspect. The casual audience isn't negatively affected by the existence of esports. Like
Right.
when like you said, like when grand finals is going on, there's still hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. No, it is millions of people playing normal battle royale, zero builds, and all of the creative game modes that exist. That audience is untouched because they don't want to be by competitive, and
They
that's
don't care about it
fine.
enough. Yeah.
But losing the opportunity to make the esports product that it could be as a marketing tool, while also providing, a place for true competition and just all of the beautiful things that come with esports, I feel like is a massive dropped ball on the developers' part that they just fail to realize. I mean, you look at the Smash community, like that.
Oh, there he is.
He's back. He's back. You're back.
He's just
Oh,
lagged out
did I lag out?
for,
Oh
for
man.
like
Hey, you're
7
back.
seconds.
Okay. Like you look at the Smash community, and Nintendo has actively tried to, like they've sent cease and desists. They've turned down tournaments.
Yeah,
Like
Nintendo's the biggest, like,
yeah,
one of the biggest, like, they don't like esports at all, but it's
Yeah.
what keeps their game alive.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, like and it doesn't ruin the casual experience for people who want to be casual. Like that's why you have, and this goes down to a developer issue of like you need to have good ranked and good pubs. Like you need to have a very
Yeah.
separate distinction for that purpose, so that people who want to funnel into the esports side
I
can
think
do the esports side.
a developer that's actually doing it really well, as much as the game is not very popular, or I guess, I don't know, but I play it sometimes there and then, is the finals. The finals.
Mm.
They
Yeah.
do a very good job at bringing these casuals, right? They just started playing the game, and they just put them in these games, and they introduce them to it, and it's a very competitive game mode, right? And
Yeah.
then those casual players are like, okay, I'm getting pretty freaking good. Let me start playing ranked.
Yeah.
They start playing ranked. You start at the bottom of the barrel, right? If you advance as you go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they haven't had any tournaments or anything yet,
Yeah.
because they're still, they're barely on season 2. Apparently, there's a tournament that's going to come up soon, but there's a very good audience on that game of casuals going to competitive, because they
Yeah.
just did a very good job at introducing harder and harder opponents, and of those hardest opponents, they just wanted to get better.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look at probably one of the greatest examples besides Fortnite in terms of a phenom of a game in Valorant, right? Valorant
Yeah.
is almost mainly competitive. I think people would
I think
argue
it's more,
that.
I think it's
Yeah.
more competitive
that
than
I
casual.
mean, so
True.
is
Yeah,
so is
that-
CS:GO.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think people would argue that casual Valorant doesn't really exist. Like casual Valorant is just like low ranked, ranks, or like, it's like playing
Yeah.
ranked without actually trying to rank up or whatever. It's not like
yeah.
the unranked
Yeah.
game mode. It's like you're either like there's like the fullest extent of casual, which is like you only play like Swift plays, but the majority of the people on the game are playing ranked. And with that, I mean, dude, you look at like Tarek's stream numbers every time there's a VCT, unheard of. I mean, dude, 200K. I think his average for today's VCT stream was like 170K. So you talk about a marketing
Insane.
appeal, right? If I'm Riot Games, I'm going, holy shit! Like we have perfected almost that. And
I mean, they
think
do a very
that's-
good job. They do a very good job on League of Legends as well. Like
Yeah,
every single change that happens is esport.
yeah,
Is for the esports, and then
Yep.
the casuals love it because everything becomes OP.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think there's a place in casual gaming. Like I definitely have my moments with shooters where I'm like, holy shit, I'm so tired of these sweats. Like just, cause like pub stomping like is a real thing, and it gets really frustrating. But I think that the solution to that is not the absence of esports to make every game casual. If anything, like with Helldivers, you saw this. They don't have PvP at all because they didn't want the inevitable inflood of people sweating too hard at the game, making it a lower experience for people who just want to play around on a shooter in a casual capacity, which is where I get back to, I think, from a developer perspective, develop esports and develop your pubs and have them be very distinct things. And I think we've seen baby steps with this with Fort in the past couple years. I think, making the rank system, like revising the rank system to be what it was, like they have been optimizing. They've been making the transition from casual to competitive the easiest that it's ever been. Now that's had some hiccups. But I think that's a very intentional thing, and they are trying to improve the esport product, and that's a good thing because I think the presence of esports. Yeah,
I just feel like the problem with Fortnite is that they're scared to take the big leap.
yeah,
Right.
I agree.
Even though that most of the videos that are out on YouTube now are just very, rank from bronze to Unreal and like, oh, I got 40 kills in Unreal lobby. And,
Yeah.
I think
so this
Epic's
was
trying to.
Go ahead.
I think
Yeah.
Epic's trying to also trial and error with it. With the last
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
seasons, the last two, I think you've seen a lot of trial and error with it.
Yeah.
With especially how much more they're catering towards, especially addressing issues of the game.
Okay, so this was something that I was thinking about because I was watching. We were talking a little bit about this before we started recording. I was watching the COD Major today. My mod Eco has been getting me into COD because I just have not wanted to touch Fort. In all honesty, like I just haven't been enjoying it to any capacity, like playing the game. So I've been playing around with other shooters. I was playing a lot of Halo, which I enjoy Halo, but it's so floaty and slow, and like I did, there were just moments there it was like starting to bore me out after playing for a couple hours. So I was like, okay, I need something new.
Halo is one of those games where you prefer to watch it than actually play it.
Dude, like it's so fun. It's so fun, but like there are moments where it just like it's almost so simple, too simple at times, where it just like it feels repetitive or kind of feels stale or slow. Like after playing,
I was watching that SSG versus Optic Gaming on Halo.
Yeah,
man, that CTF map lasted like 19 minutes. I was entertained the whole time.
Yeah,
the whole time. But when I play the game,
it
feels like shit.
They can, yeah. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I finally bit the bullet and I got COD, and COD is just like it was kind of perfect. It solved the thing that I wanted. Like it's a pretty bare bones shooter. It doesn't have like abilities like Valorant. It doesn't have building and editing. Like, but it's straightforward, but it works. It's perfect for like it's kind of the blueprint of the shooter genre. You don't have shooters unless you have COD. Like
it's just mechanics and gun skill.
Right. And so I've really been enjoying it. So I started watching competitive, and I was watching the major, and like the biggest, like like you said, we talked about a little bit of it, like, but the teams make it. The teams make esports, and that's a massive thing. I mean, dude, like I've been a FaZe fan since I got into esports, and like that's a little bit like bandwagon-ish of me, maybe not so much now, but like having that fandom, just like traditional sports, is so big. It contributes so much. It's what makes people want to go to events. It's what makes people buy jerseys and all of that stuff.
I mean, you have Optic. If Optic went out of the Call of Duty League, the Call of Duty League is nothing.
Yeah. Right. No, I mean, Optic is like, I mean, before I ever
they are the powerhouse of that.
Before I ever even touched a COD game, I knew who Optic was. I knew who Scump was. Like, and that reach is insane. But where I'm getting at with this is like Fort being a battle royale, it's so much harder to implement that. But I think there needs to be some kind of attempt. Like, even if it's like all of the, like Fortnite defines some threshold that says after this point you are a pro player, whether it's like you qualify for a grand finals in a given year, let's say each chapter this resets, but it's like, okay, you qualified for grand finals, now you're on the official professional player list, you qualify for free agency, and then you have, let's say you franchise a certain amount of spots out for people who can buy up these free agents in contract, that then can compete under your name, for the rest of the year.
I don't think franchising is good. Me personally, I don't think franchising is good. It's the reason why Call of Duty's this is probably its last year as a franchise league, and it's the reason why Valorant is failing now. Even though they're pulling that many viewers, it's really a failing esport because, dude, they have one game every 6 months, every 3 months.
Yeah. Oh, the frequency of matches is for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's just you got the same thing on Call of Duty. You have 3 games on Friday, 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Come on, like you would have, back then you would have free to open games, right? You have 264 teams playing in one fucking weekend at a LAN center, right? And in that LAN center, you have probably like 50 PCs set up or stations for everybody to play at, right? And they had streams. Everybody had streams for every separate stream, every single game. And at that time, Call of Duty was averaging 500,000 viewers altogether.
Yeah.
Okay, so you think that um, that not franchising is the solution? I just when I get to Fort, I just maybe I guess what I'm more so pointing at is that franchising would solve the org support issue.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the biggest thing with Fort, and we've talked about it time and time again. Like, I mean, dude, Valorant just did this with the gun skins, the bundles. Orgs are getting 50% of the proceeds from those sales, which is a massive, massive step. Like, will it recover all of their expenses? No, but it'll make everything so much easier. I mean, any
what
amount
about
of income that an org can receive, that to offset costs is going to like provide so much good in esports. So that's where I'm like, Fortnite, please, like that's the biggest, in my opinion, that is the same thing that will make the single greatest difference in Fortnite competitive, and the trajectory of it is
well,
org
what
support.
about like
Yeah.
If Fortnite organizations, right? As long as I feel like you should be able to apply to a program, like kind of like a creative code, but not really like creative code, right? But basically, it's like it's a skeleton of a creator code. You apply to it, you prove your credibility, you know, etc. So Fortnite puts you in a system where, okay, you know, this season these teams are gonna have skins, and we're gonna give them the profits to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the next season, they can open the applications back up, new org start up. You know, they prove their credibility. You know,
Sure.
and then the teams that did absolutely like horseshit or just disbanded completely, they just take them off.
They
You
drop
know what I
them
mean?
out. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
just
can see
take them
that.
off.
Yeah.
If they don't have enough sales in their, they don't have enough sales of the program, they can just take them off as well.
I mean, dude, even the first almost real recognition of orgs even existing on the broadcast that I've ever seen was in this most recent Grands when Cooper wore his Dig jersey during his interview. And like they were like, oh, repping the Dig jersey. And it was like the first time in my memory that Fortnite has ever actually officially recognized the existence and participation of organizations.
Oh yeah.
And it like that is astonishing that we're almost 6 years into Fortnite. And
They just need to start acknowledging the organizations.
exactly.
Organizations going to
And
stay
partnering with them.
coming up.
There is so much opportunity for mutual benefit there that I don't understand why, if they're trying to improve the competitive product, that's how you do it, is in tandem with these organizations, building them up as you build your product up. Because the stronger the, you know, like in any sport or in any competitive environment, the stronger the storylines, the bigger the names. I mean, dude, the recent COD, like, dude, that COD major today, you had FaZe versus Optic. That's like the dream grand final because those are the two biggest names. You have fan bases dedicated to both of those teams. That's what makes it, like, that's half of what makes it exciting. Yes, the players contribute. Yes, the format contributes. All of that. The product.
Yeah, Optic got slammed, but it's all good. Like,
but at the end of the day, it's like, who are people rooting for? You have the Green Monster versus FaZe. Like, you know, it's like,
whoa.
or the Green Wall.
Green Wall. All right.
But you have these dedicated fan bases, and like that's not happening in Fortnite right now. And that would be a massive step. So this is another thing that I want to talk about that was really interesting to me about watching this COD major was the existence of league sponsors and team sponsors. Like, so my understanding is that Scuf sponsors the CDL, the entire league. And my question was like, why has Fort not done this? Why do they not have competitive sponsors for, you know, all of Fortnite competitive?
Like Steel Series and like
exactly. Like why
Steel
don't
Series stuff?
Why don't they have a peripheral sponsor? And then if you got to the point of, you know, this org inclusion where orgs could have official sponsors, you know, where, and they could actually like rep them on jerseys, for example. That was a big gripe that we had with Epic Games. And I do feel like maybe one of the issues comes down to, like I said, lack of recognition, but I also feel like there should be some kind of governing body almost, or representative,
Epic,
like a union.
Epic already recognizes organizations. They do it on the Rocket League side. I don't know why they can't just do it on the Fortnite side.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, I agree. I feel like with Fortnite though, part of it is because of these pop-up orgs, because of the scam orgs, you have your 33s and your extras and etc. And 2 a.m. I mean, God, I wouldn't want to associate with 2 a.m. if I was but I do feel like part of that could be weeded out by kind of what you were talking about earlier, Sad, but also like I feel like there should be some kind of like union. You know how they had like there was supposed to be some kind of players union. You remember this? Like a while back, there was supposed to be
Call of Duty.
No, in Fortnite, there was some Fortnite Professional Players Association or something like that. And like
Right.
I have no clue what happened to that.
You all got in a Discord. They had a dev in there and everything. They could tell the issues too.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe it still exists. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. But
I know it still exists, but it's just to let players know what's changing for the next season.
So I feel like there should be something
players
like
already
this.
know what's going to change way before the season starts.
Yeah, because something that in my experience in org management, like that was something that I felt like was a massive disconnect. Is we had no like real way to communicate with competitive Fortnite. Like we had no real way to get information or to, like all of those things. It was just kind of like we were treated as if we were an individual. And I feel like org inclusion, org participation, org communication, like there should be a union, right? That all the org owners are a part of or something that have direct connection to Fortnite competitive or something along those lines, some kind of structure to the organizations where they can be involved and contribute and have, communication openly with competitive, how things are going to run. Like, for example, it would be really nice to know before they announce it to the general population where globals is going to be, because we can start budgeting and planning and, having media and Airbnbs and all of that done ahead of time instead of busting our asses the day it gets announced. Like so many logistical things.
I just think Fortnite is like Epic is just being greedy by taking advantage of these organizations promoting their game freely. And at the end of the day, all that money that players get paid goes back to Fortnite because they buy skins. Yeah. And, they're just, I think they're just taking advantage of free marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to start acknowledging it that, okay, these guys give us free marketing. Let's give them free marketing back.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's so much opportunity for mutual benefit in the orgs and in the competitive product.
You don't have to give anything to the organizations. All you got to do is acknowledge them. Acknowledging them and introduces casuals to, there's teams.
I mean, dude, like imagine if at the media days, right? Like for Copenhagen, they did a massive media day. They interviewed players and they did storylines and did all this stuff. Imagine if you had org inclusion in that, the story of how this org started, or like just anything like that built these storylines and these brands and included them in the overall picture and product of what Fortnite competitive is. It would improve it, and I also feel like it would legitimize it so much more. Like to have official organizations in the picture instead of just all of these random teenagers that, let's be honest, their behavior and the way they carry themselves is not great for representation. I feel like if you have official organizations that act as a company and act accordingly and don't misbehave in that way, to be at least partial representatives of the competitive product, I feel like that would also start to solve the issue of why there aren't sponsors for Fortnite competitive, why we don't have a peripheral sponsor and all of that stuff. If there was more a greater sense of officialness to it, I feel like that would begin to, really improve the competitive product very quickly. But that was just something that really stuck out to me, like with Valorant and with COD, especially watching the COD major. Like I was kind of comparing and contrasting to, what do I wish would happen in the Fort scene that COD is already doing? And that was one of the org inclusion and also the sponsor on the team and league level was a big thing for me. Where I'm like, oh, that makes this all sustainable. And like you said, the existence of lands and hosting lands, if orgs became more legitimate and we actually had hometowns or things like that where we could host events, like I'd be all for that, get us, let's say it was PL, like let's get a PL major. That sounds great to me, an invite tournament or something. Like, I don't know. That was
I think they need to. I do agree that they need to go away from this FNCS format of playing it online and actually start making it to where, okay, let's have like, see if any brands or organizations want to host this for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I know the logistics of getting 200 computers can be hard.
Yeah.
But it's possible. They
very
do it.
possible.
They do it at Copenhagen. They do it
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
You know what
Well,
I
I mean,
mean?
imagine if it was every grand finals too. I don't know if you could even do that.
I mean, you could do it every grand finals. You have how
Every
many a
3
year?
months?
4 or 5?
Yeah, but
every
I'm just
year,
saying you'd
4
have to have every grand finalist show up to a location. So you like airfare and all of that stuff would just be in hotels. And
I agree,
like,
but you also got to think about it that Epic can use the events as a tax write-off.
mm.
It brings
And-
tax incentives to them.
And I think if you had there's like in the current circuit, there's 4 majors a year, including globals.
Yeah.
So globals is already a LAN event.
Price winnings
you have
already gets deducted in taxes.
You have 3 events that are untouched that are getting massive viewership. And there's so much potential there, I think, for return on investment if you do it properly, right? Like you said, if you get a brand involved, if you have the right things happening, I do think that there's opportunity there. And it just makes for a much better product. I mean, if you're selling out an entire arena, like especially if they were US based,
DreamHacks only sell out because of Fortnite.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I mean, dude, I can't wait to see how low those BYOC numbers are for this upcoming Dallas now that Fortnite isn't included. Cause like, dude, I mean, seriously, I think in the DreamHacks that I've gone to. Oh no. I think I lost.
I bet your DreamHacks.
No, you're here.
Oh, you're here.
Am I back?
No, you
Yeah.
were here the whole time. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I think the whole DreamHack thing with Fortnite. I think there's something definitely external that we don't know about. I don't think it's all.
Oh, as to why
not
they
DreamHack's
canceled it.
decision alone. Yeah.
I think it's just maybe there was too many things happening. They're like, oh, we have to reduce the amount of people that come to the BYOC.
Maybe.
Fortnite
I mean, Fortnite was like,
to be
It's
fair,
not worth
it caused all the problems at Dallas last year. Like people were only there, like the whole thing with, the premium room was a separate
the
room.
whole premium room was a Fortnite room.
It became a Fortnite club, and like people were sneaking in and like
how much money did they get there? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
they
it
weren't
was
sneaking
insane.
in. They just the employees there didn't even know the policies that BYOC normal people can't go in there after
Yeah.
the second day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
It's
mean
just-
it was insane. But like, I mean, dude, you remember that there was like an 8-year-old kid who him and his dad bought premium just so they could watch Booga. Like, that's insane.
I mean, it made them money, didn't it?
Oh no, I'm 100%. I'm just saying,
made
like,
them money.
that's the
I'm saying the reasoning though.
I think that's the cool part about Fortnite is that you can just go buy of DreamHack, so you could just go buy premium price for a ticket, just so you can sit next to your favorite pro, your idol, maybe
Yeah.
esport idol. You know what I mean? If you're
Yeah.
a kid like that, you're gonna be looking up to Booga. Holy shit, this guy's fucking crazy at the game. Let me go sit next to
Yeah.
him too.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, at the other, they give. I mean, if the star is too big, right? If it's causing too much problem, just move him and give him a booth like they did to Clicks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true,
exactly.
true.
Like
It's
it's
as
genuinely
simple as that.
bothering them. Yeah.
Even Clicks was like, man, at that DreamHack, he didn't like being at that booth. He wanted to be over there at the premium room with everybody.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
fair.
yeah. Well, treated like a super
Preferences.
celebrity. I mean, that's crazy. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and there should be security measures. Like, there shouldn't have just been little
There
kids
should definitely
walking
be more
around,
security measures.
Yeah. But like, dude, all that had to be was like, and this is what they implemented eventually was like, if you didn't have a premium pass, you were just kicked out of the premium room,
Yeah.
which makes sense. It only sucked for those of us on PL at the time that didn't buy a premium pass that were told ahead of time that we'd be able to be in there for org stuff and for media and that. And like, that was the only issue.
I mean,
So
if DreamHack makes the media passes impossible to get them,
Yeah.
too. Like they want like a
Did you need
newsletter to be.
yeah, you need to be associated with like a newspaper or like something.
Yeah, like who the fuck
similar,
reads a
like-
newspaper nowadays? Even a newsletter, they just look at Twitter and say, "What the hell's going on?"
Yeah. Can I show them my Twitter account with like 1K followers? Does that count? Like, I was probably more
Yeah,
read than
can
a
I just-
newspaper at this
Can I
point.
just like Can I just put out one freaking post out there, publish it, and have a publisher like actually like
Yeah,
verify it?
Yeah, like at that point, I would like call a news organization ahead of time and say, hey, like, can you hire me on a 7-day contract to do esports journalism? You know,
Hey,
like,
are you just tell them, hey, listen, I want to do esport or fucking report for you guys for your newspaper for the weekend.
yeah,
Can I
I'll
do
write you
that?
an article
I'll do it
about,
for
yeah,
free. Like I
exactly.
don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah,
never talk to you again. Yeah.
And you go
Yeah.
to ChatGPT, hey, can you write me about this details and stuff? Like,
Yeah,
Hey man,
yeah.
don't leak the ideas, bro.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching.
Delete the
Everybody's gonna take that idea, bro. No,
strats.
but I get that.
No, but I like, okay. I don't think that the direction of Fortnite competitive is bad right now. I think that it's going in a good direction. I just think there are things that I think would accelerate that growth a lot faster. But not just for esports. I feel like all esports actually. I do feel like we're about to see a boom. Now, about like I'm not saying like the next few months. I'm saying like in a couple years, I feel like we're going to see esports at a new apex.
Yep.
You know, I think it's in a
it'll
good
be
direction.
it'll be structured well. It'll actually be like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen recently the Yankee shirts is here. Yankee shirts, they've never had any sponsors. They've never had anything on it. Nothing. And this year they have Nike on the top left.
Damn.
Interesting. I never even knew that.
They have Nike on the top left. You know what I mean? And then why? Because they paid $1 billion to just be on a jersey.
God damn. Sounds nice.
I mean, yeah.
They're paying $1 billion a year just to be on a jersey. And it's not sponsoring the whole team. It's just
to be
right.
to be on the jersey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like that's where esport orgs will end up being at one point.
I agree, because here's the thing, right? When I look at what I think is the maximum potential of esports in terms of popularity and viewership, it's way higher than traditional sports. Like, it is. It's so global. It's so accessible. Everyone and their mom is gaming. Like, everyone plays video games. Everyone knows like about esports to some capacity now. That will only be also strengthened with the high school clubs and college programs that are being implemented across the country and the world. I mean, dude,
when the government knows about it, they consider content creation as a job now. And you can actually do your taxes properly. You don't have to do a bunch of bullshit that you used to have to do.
I've got a buddy, so that old coaching job that I had, the youth esports coaching that I did online. I had a buddy who was like the head of tech support there, who was also a coach for Valorant and Fortnite. And we worked together for a time, and then he left. He works for the a city government where he lives, organizing and managing esports leagues and tournaments. The government hired him to do that in the school districts in his area. Like he fully has a government job doing esports now. That's super sick. When I go for job listings in esports, because I look at them all the time, looking for internships, opportunities, to take that next step in my career. And hopefully, I mean, my goal is to try and make a full-time living in the esports industry, which is like crazy difficult right now.
I try, honestly, if for a job, I try with the Outlaws.
Who's that?
The Houston Outlaws.
Oh.
Yeah, and Cease is signed to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, dude. Cease is a goat.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when I look at these job listings, the most common job that I see is something akin to esports director or esports administrator, esports head coach. They all kind of mean the same thing. It's kind of like you're the athletic administrator. What's that called? Sports administrator.
Manager?
Yeah, no, like sports. Like in schools, you have like a sports administrator or whatever.
Yeah. An admin. You're just an admin.
Yeah. Like for esports, like dude, every single university, I swear on my life, is making. You'll probably find 20 or 30 listings of this same.
I mean,
job.
every single university has a esports division now.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like to go play video games, like you don't have to. Just go.
Oh, every single one has a club now for sure.
They have a club.
Official sanctioned.
It's a big club too. Like they give a big room for it.
And the biggest thing with the educational side is that there's such an inherent partnership and relationship with STEM. And obviously STEM is like the most secure industry and profitable industry in the world right now. I mean, science, technology, engineering, math, like, dude, if you work in tech or software or coding, and that's what like so many of these after school esports programs have done, is they've implemented coding and they're teaching coding alongside, which I think is great. But like, dude, that, you know, that continuing to build popularity where, you know, we see every single university in America have esports teams, just like every single one has a football team or a, you know, basketball team or all of that stuff. It's going to boost that popularity even more. But esports is just so accessible. It doesn't have like it doesn't have the same barriers either. I mean, dude, we see people that are quadriplegics that are able to play video games at a decent level. It has way more accessibility than traditional sports does. And I love traditional sports. I'm not saying that it should be weeded out by esports, but I'm saying you're reaching a whole other demographic that won't be reached by traditional sports. And it has so much overlap. And so
because traditional sports is like very genetically, like you have to be gifted with the right amount of stamina. You need to be gifted with the right amount of body mass, etc. Esports, you know, you can be a fat ass thing on your chair, just, you know, spend 16 hours a day playing. Not like, if you suck, I mean, you gotta find the right esports for you. Everybody has the right esport for them. That one game that you're good at.
No, that's true, because you have such a wide variety of esports too. Like the skill sets range so crazily. I mean, dude, you can have people that are like Pokemon pros, and it's all about strategy and it's all about knowing numbers and all this stuff. Nothing about real-time instincts, nothing about aim, any of that stuff. And then you have a shooter pro on the other end where it's like it's all about you know, aim and reaction time and all of that stuff.
It's really cool to see how other esports like strive in the communities, in the sense that like different strategies, how the games are played, how serious people take it. Because when you play a game dominantly, like how we played Fort or how some of us played Val, like we focus on the game for the strategies that were created within the game, were created by pros that people follow now, blah, 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 and how they're written. But when you look at other games such as like COD, League, whatever it is, and these teams have strategies to get through the game and to get by other teams, it's just cool to see, because it's like there's a different quote unquote version of it for every game.
Yeah.
I want you guys to do me a favor right now. Okay, like we talking about this whole esports thing in university, colleges, whatever. Search up online Red Bull Gaming Hub. This is at a university I'm going to probably be attending next year. Like I'm transferring over. This is what they have built. And one of the things I'm literally going for, like one of the main reasons I'm going, because I'm going there to personally hold events, trying to do them every other week for Valorant, for Fort, and other games. That's literally one of my goals. If you search it up, it should pop up. It should be the first thing.
Yeah, it's the first thing. I mean, that looks awesome.
Like Red Bull literally made this years ago. And when I first left high school, this is literally like I applied to the school originally for this reason, just because I thought of the vision of hosting events, becoming a big like quote unquote administrator for it, and like honestly making it a big part of my content. And when I saw this and I didn't get into I got into the school but not for what I wanted, I apply it again this year to see if I get in. Hopefully I do. But like literally, I want to make this place like a quote unquote home. Yeah, I want to make this like a home. Like I want to be able to host events. Like the way you can host events as a student, it's so cool to me, and I want to make it happen. Because go ahead.
I think again, I think we're gonna see a mirroring of the sports industry, in in sports you have the college to pro pipeline, right? You have people who are going to college who have all intentions of, if they have the opportunity to go pro, dropping out or not finishing their degree or whatever, but who are their backup or whatever is going to college, getting their degree paid for esports or for sports, sorry. And I think we're going to see that too. I think we're going to see like recruiting out of college for certain esports begin to become a real thing, especially as more colleges across the country begin implementing programs. So then we're going to have this whole ecosystem and this whole industry kind of follow in, there's so many opportunities for products and business in the wake of something like that. I mean, you think about everything that exists, like from like you have high schoolers with private trainers now for football. For example.
I think you also have you need to have the developers recognize these colleges. Okay, they have esports divisions. Let's support that esports division.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because when you do that, you make it into traditional sports.
Yeah, right.
You make it that bridge that has always been missing into something.
Like, can you imagine
make
if
these,
like
you make these kids go to school, like actually
Yeah.
go to school and
yeah
get educated.
yeah for the sake of competing at a high level?
Exactly.
I mean, dude,
These
Yeah.
developers are so selfish because they have the opportunity to make such a big economy like change.
Dude,
Like
imagine in
100%.
10 to 15 years, people are like comparing collegiate and pro Fortnite, just like people talk about like collegiate versus professional basketball.
I mean, Play
And how they're,
VS
like,
was a great thing. I don't know why
Yeah.
they ever got rid of it.
Plavius was perfect.
No,
bro.
like, dude,
And,
like,
like
Plavius
the,
was
sys-
awesome.
the system of it was kind of flawed because there was people playing that weren't in high school getting high school accounts and stuff like that, which was kind of flawed a bit.
I mean,
but
they
at the
even
same
have the
time,
college shift.
that is true. That's what I was gonna say. The system and what they had in mind and what
Yeah.
they were looking towards was perfect. I loved it, and I don't know
Yeah.
why they aren't continuing it because it's a perfect way to put that combination.
probably
of those worlds
participation,
together.
if I were to take a guess, because like, dude, those
Possibly.
the collegiate
my-
ones especially.
Play VS was
Well,
littered
the
with
high school
kids.
circuit was really good. The college one, like you had. I mean, dude, I think NPen won like basically every single tournament that they put up because he just knew that it was free money for him. And like, but I do feel like if they did it now and they did it properly and they advertised it properly and it was officially associated with Epic Games, where it was advertised frequently and they was said like, hey, if you're a college student, play this, right? Like, and that you had divisions for that. Because, dude, I can tell you from an org management perspective, I would be looking there. I'd be like, okay, who won the high school tournaments, this year? Who won the high school majors? Who won the college majors?
This kid
It would be a recruiting track, right? It would be an opportunity for kids to prove themselves. It would be an opportunity to build brands and storylines and partnerships and all of that stuff. It'd be massive. It really would. But yeah, I'm excited for that. And esports will. I truly believe that esports will be bigger than
I don't
traditional
think it's
sports.
going anywhere either.
Oh no,
it's
it's not. It's just we're in a. I think okay.
I mean,
I
South
think we're
Korea does
in-
it perfectly.
I think we're in the final dip before like this golden age of esports. I really believe that. I believe that once esports has this upswing, whenever that is, I think it's going to be within the next anywhere from like 2 to 5 to 7 years, something like that. Somewhere within that range. I think once we see that rise, I think it's going to stay there for a long time. I think we're going to like once. Yeah, go ahead.
You also have like you have to think about it that there is like a country that already completely supports esports, completely built an economy around it. You know what I mean? South Korea, man. Like, look at it. That's why League of Legends is so big because South Korea's like government is so involved in it.
I mean, and we've seen more of that, right? Like Monaco is from
Monaco is starting
like,
to. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I really do. I mean,
Like-
dude, where is it? Is it Sweden or like, dude? There's somewhere up there where like CS:GO is like the most important thing in the world. I think even
it's like Denmark.
statistically, yeah, where it's like
Denmark.
it's statistically like the most supported sport in the country. Like it just it's insane.
Like imagine you start having. I mean, that's what Riyadh is doing, but honestly, I wouldn't like for it to be hosted in Riyadh all the time. Like the Olympics. That
Yeah.
Games Olympics is a great idea. You give esport orgs money. You give this money, and it's supported by a whole country. I mean, you got to think about it. Saudi Arabia owns Engine Esports, right? They own ESL, right?
Yeah.
They're fully trying to buy the whole esport market because they see the potential in it.
Yeah. And they're driving so much tourism because of it too.
Yeah.
And that's that was their intention is to make these spectacles that people want to go out for. And dude, the Saudi events look absolutely gorgeous. They look insane.
The people, the hospitality. I mean, that's bad. You hear the politics. Who gives a fuck? But when you go there to the country, the hospitality of the people is great.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's just like, why does it have to just be there? Like, I get like, why can't we go to like London? Go to go here or go there. You know what I mean? Like like South Korea has never had really events like that. Why can't an event be at South Korea?
Yeah. There's a lot more to cover, like especially for Fort. Like again, all of what we're talking about relates back to Fort because of the whole conversation we started off at the beginning.
Yep.
There's a lot that we want for Fort to do and Fort to strive. Again, that being said, we don't know as much as we want it to happen, we don't know the struggles that they're actually going
Yeah,
through.
we don't
Maybe
know
there's
the
something that
logistics.
the
We don't know the
logistics.
planning.
Yeah.
We don't know financially. Yes, we want to say this and that. Like, yes, they're rich, but there's always this and like the lawsuits we see and all that happened before.
Yeah.
That being said, we don't know the exact logistics. We're not behind the financial team. We're not behind the logistics
they
team.
could put these on, absolutely. Like they could put more events on, absolutely.
There's probably a reason we don't know
okay.
yet, though.
When you say it's a money issue, it's not that they don't have the money.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
that
yeah.
they don't view it as something that with a return on investment enough to where they just view it as a loss of money. And that's where I think it goes back to that central misunderstanding that developers have that, yes, if you spend, I don't know, I have no clue how much an event like that costs, but let's say it's $250,000. Let's
Sure.
say, let's just throw out a number, right?
Sure.
$250,000 to put on a LAN. Yes, you're not going to get all of that back with ticket sales and vendors and merch and all of that. You're not, and not even sponsors and all that. But let's say you get half of it back. Let's say
you get tax incentives too.
Taxes, but let's say you get half of that back on income from the event itself. Okay,
You'll probably make about half. Yeah.
this is just
Or you'll break even.
pure hypothetical. But let's say you make half.
Yeah.
Think about the market potential. Think about the advertising that was done. That's how many sales is that going to generate in the near future as a result of that? Like, how many people are going to buy skins as a result of watching a competitive tournament? I mean, I tell you that, like, I buy every single FNCS skin because I love Fortnite competitive. I have no clue. I don't think they make it so that, all the money spent on the FNCS skins goes straight to competitive events. I don't think that's the case.
No, hell no.
But I'm saying, like, you have to think about how many conversions are you generating by putting on an event like that. I can guarantee you. I mean, what was it when they did the Ukraine thing? They made, like, I think it was $50,000 like the first day that they made
$50,000.
It may be way higher than that.
They made like $109 million in 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, dude, look, like,
50.
think about that. Think about how quickly, like, if you're talking about an event of that size, right, and the viewership that would go along with having LANs at every single FNCS.
Sorry.
Like,
from 50,000 to
$50,000. You made 109.
I was just trying to
dude.
lowball. I don't remember it being that high. I remember it being a crazy high number.
It was huge.
But like,
makes sense.
regardless, you get that return on investment and then some, right? You say that the event that you held for $250,000 resulted in X amount of conversions that netted you this much money. I guarantee you it would be profitable if you look at it from that perspective. So it goes back to this. Am I back? Am I here?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay. It goes back to the central misunderstanding of orgs that, it's a loss of money because they don't see immediate ROI or they don't see immediate profit from the event itself. It's marketing. You have to view esports as marketing.
Sad, are you searching this up right now?
I mean, yeah, look, the first day they raised $36 million.
God,
the first day, bro.
From
first day.
That's from one item shop rotation.
Yeah, one item shop rotation. They released a new skin. They had just released zero builds. It was the perfect combo.
Yeah. Okay.
It almost feels like maybe zero builds was rushed to help Ukraine.
Like, but I want to go.
That's nuts.
Okay, like I said before, right? Again, we don't know the exact logistics. Of course, we want to say there's enough money and all this and blah blah blah, whatever.
There is. They just need to stop viewing it as a net loss.
But do you think they're scared for a long term, like you were saying, if they do $250,000 and they only got half back, or just below half, or just over half?
Yeah.
Do you think? And of course, we see it as it's a long term investment because we know what it can do marketing wise. Do you think that, or is just scared of that long term investment, or do you also think that there's also an external factor that we haven't seen yet or heard?
They just don't want to take the. They don't view it as necessary to put on the event because they can say, why would we have a net loss even if it's temporary, right? Let's say with the hypothetical we provided, you're still losing 125K.
Yeah.
They don't want to be 125K in the hole because they view it as unnecessary, right? Even if they make more money off of it in the long run, because all they're going to say is, well, if we didn't spend that money on the event and we just make some new shitty skin and put that in the item shop, we'll generate way more sales without as much cost outwardly. So it just that,
Do you think that Fortnite makes their money back? You know how they have it every season, they have an FNCS skin, right?
yeah.
Do you think that they managed to make at least half or maybe a little bit more than
Of the total
prize
competitive
winning?
cost of the year?
Yeah? Or not the year, not
Or
the
for
year,
that
just
FNCS?
season
Mm,
and the
I don't
entire cash
know.
cups.
I don't know. I don't
don't
know how
think
many people buy
currently-
those skins. I gotta say, I find them pretty rare. I think I'm one of the only people that has bought every single FNCS skin. I can't say
Currently,
that.
I feel like
I I mean, they're pretty cheap. I feel like everybody buys them. I feel like everybody just spends $8 just to buy them.
I don't know. I don't know.
okay, I get what
I
you're
I mean,
saying.
it costs you $8.
Here's what I do think. I think if they announced like this season that all of the proceeds from the sales of FNCS skins were going to go to competitive, I can guarantee you that every single Aussie Antics viewer would buy one. I can guarantee you that like half of the Clicks viewers would buy it. I think then you would see this like unbelievable surge of support from the community, because really right now there is no way for a viewer to directly compensate the prize pool in any way. There's no way for them to directly invest into competitive as a product financially. I think if you provide that means, whether that's org skins or, you know, the sales of the FNCS skins going to competitive as a whole, not even orgs, even though that would be glorious. I think
it would be awesome if maybe the like FNCS winners start getting like their little maybe like icon type of skins.
Yeah.
Ooh, that would be good. That would be good.
Yeah.
Even if
Like-
it's like not like the whole like process of like doing their
Like,
likeness or whatever, but
call
some
it-
kind of representation of who they are. Yeah,
you
that
know,
would be cool.
they have the icon series. How about you call it the champion series?
Champion series, yeah.
Yeah, the champion series. You know, they could be like,
Mm.
it doesn't really have to be where it looks like them,
Yeah,
but it
yeah.
could be like, you know,
Kind of like the locker
very-
bundle thing. Like every champion like picks
no,
like
not like
something
I
like
wouldn't
that.
say like a locker bundle. I would say maybe like, you know, it could be like a pickaxe that represents them.
Yeah,
Like acorn,
yeah.
right? It could be like an acorn pickaxe.
What if it was like,
Acorn glider.
you know the old FNCS pickaxe, the gold one, and it had like the FNCS logo in the middle.
Yeah.
Like what if you like did that, but then you made like a unique player icon, you know, like you have like the emblems that go on those specific skins and like the player emblem that you have.
Yeah.
Like what if you made one for the champion of each season, so like you could sell like their version of the champion axe, like that's just an idea we came up with in 2 minutes. Like they could come up with something, you know, that would generate
Yeah, I mean, it could be like, you know, the acorn glider, you know.
right.
Champion series is part of the champion series. It could be like, okay, Booga won FNCS. Holy shit, let's just make his pug be freaking pickaxe all of a sudden, or like a big skin version of him, you know, like
No, for sure. I dude, like I would be 100% down for that. But I think if they started saying, if they announced tomorrow that, hey, if you buy the FNCS skin, you know, 50% of the proceeds from all the sales of this skin are going to go to the competitive prize pool or whatever, dude, it would be unbelievable how much money they make.
Champion
off of
series would dedicatedly be like, okay, well, all this money that we get from it will go to the next prize pool.
And of course, I would have to recommend org skins. It just is like it's the most make sense thing in the world. It would cost them essentially nothing to produce. They could be so simple. I mean, dude, if you just took the FNCS skin concepts that they've done and make them with org skins, that alone, I know with PL in the golden days, dude, we would have been able to fund 3 months of our expenses with just one item shop day of that skin. Like not recurring, not a like just dude, it would be game changing.
I mean, it's like back to my idea that I said, you know, make it an application process, you know, you put skins out for their orgs.
That's what I was gonna say, because when we're comparing esports in this sense, like how Valorant has their VCT bundles right now with the whole VCTs happening. Of course, it's over now, but I'm saying they had their VCT bundles of a lot of big organizations, right? Like they have Sentinels in there who are renowned for multiple games. Energy, renowned
Yeah.
for multiple games. Genji, renowned for multiple games. Loud, etc., etc., etc. In Fortnite, there are always orgs coming in and out, especially
Yeah.
big orgs. Like
Yeah.
if we're talking about pipeline, realistically speaking, we had the pipeline come up for a long time. They did amazing in the grand finals, and then there was a whole shutdown at the time.
Yeah.
That being said, I think what Fort is looking for, this whole org skins thing, is also the consistency of organizations. Like,
Sure.
had you kept organizations such as Energy, Sentinels, 100 Thieves, all that back in the beginning when they were consistent orgs that currently still run in other games,
Yeah.
had those stayed in Fortnite, org skins would have made more sense because those are going to be consistently there until they leave years
but the
down
reason
the line.
that those big name tier 1 orgs dipped out is because, one, they have capital and infrastructure in other games, so they could walk out when Fortnite stopped being profitable. But the reason that the main reason it wasn't profitable is because Fortnite didn't implement this all the way back then when they should have.
And that's what I'm saying, is that now that Fort has let that go, and now maybe they've even realized a mistake, but I haven't said it to the audience or to anybody that we know. Again, we don't know the logistics, we don't know the financial status, whatever it is. They don't want to give orgs that, they see they probably have seen it, as especially devs and people in that Twitter space have seen orgs go in and out. Bigger orgs that have funded multiple thousands, 10,000s, even 100,000s of dollars. Right now, the biggest names of organizations that are currently in that will have been staying around the longest are Dignitas.
Yeah.
That's all I got. Like, staying around the longest. You know what I mean? Like, it's cool if it's season by season cool. It's like season by season, chapter by chapter. But Dignitas has been around. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get what I'm trying to say with this whole
but I think
it's been around for 10 years.
What, has been around for 10 years?
Yeah, it's been around for 10 years. There started as a CSGO org, started on somebody's pocket, and it's gone through every single esport.
100%.
You talk about Fort presence, though, it's going to take them implementing that before the consistency comes, and then you'll start to see the orgs be consistently around.
I can see it happening. I just think they're scared to, because they don't want to take that risk of consistency and then having to back down on this idea.
You may be right. That may be what it is. I feel like their biggest hang up right now, I feel like the biggest reason that they have not poured the necessary time, money, and resources into making the competitive product that Fortnite has the potential to be is the behavior and the representation of what the competitive scene is. The perception of the competitive scene is horrific. And now there are other esports that have some horrific events. I mean, you can talk about some of the shit that's happened in professional Valorant, for example. There's some wild shit that goes down, but I don't know if any esport has a worse reputation of its pro players and surrounding supporting cast than Fortnite does. And that's something that I do think that the orgs are not, I would say, directly responsible for, but I do think that orgs have been enabling that behavior for a long time. The industry standard in the Fortnite scene is that, I'm a pro player, so my name, and people know my name. So you're going to give me money to put your brand in association with mine. I'm going to change nothing about the way I act. I'm going to do nothing for you. I'm just going to exist in, close association with your brand, and that's the value that I provide contractually. And then orgs are dependent on that brand. So then they're like, okay, well, hey, we really wish you wouldn't tweet these types of things, or you wouldn't say these types of things. But they, the pro player knows that they have the leverage. They know that the org needs them more than they need the org. And that power dynamic has caused a lot of really, really shitty behavior to be allowed. And it is tanked. It's continuously tanked the reputation. And I feel like that is, Panda said this too. I feel like that is the biggest thing withholding Fortnite Esports from being what it could be, is that perception. Every time if I was an organization and I said, okay, I have $100,000 of extra marketing that I want to throw, and I say maybe I want to throw a Fortnite tournament, and I look at Twitter for 10 minutes in the Fortnite side of things, I would probably see 5 or 6 tweets that would make me go, oh, hell no, I'm not spending money here. I don't want my company in association with this type of stuff. So I don't know. I do think player conduct contracts, like I said, if Epic implemented some kind of threshold that qualified people to be an official pro player, because really there is no definitive thing. I mean, Cooper, for example, went from not known 5K PR or 5K earning, whatever, to global international superstar and champion.
I mean, it's FNC as his poster boy right now.
Yeah, in a couple of months, right? That transition happened extremely quickly. And people wouldn't have said that he was like, some people would argue that he wasn't a pro player at all before he got any of that. And now obviously he's T1 of the T1. He's solidified himself in the top echelon of the game. I think having an official threshold to say you are officially a pro, you're recognized as a pro player by Fortnite Competitives as an organization, and then you have a code of conduct and contracts and all of that stuff that they have to adhere to, I think would raise that reputation a lot to where you can start to get brand involvement. You can start to get company involvement. I also feel like it falls on organizations as well, to hold that standard, to hold people to, a standard of professionalism.
Yeah, I think it's also been long enough for Fortnite to actually implement something like that, because most of these pro players that are repeatedly on the leaderboards are older now. And it's the same players you saw 4 years ago that were kids back then.
Yeah, I agree.
Like,
I mean,
the newcomers, even the newcomers are older kids now. Like Fortnite is not anymore the 8-year-old to 14-year-old game.
At least they're above like 16, 17.
It really now is like from 16 to even 20. 25
and
now,
that was something when I started being involved in orgs, I knew that my role was going to be something of a mentorship as much as it was going to be anything else. Like, and you hear all the people in the top organizations talk about this. Like 50, I think was a great example of this. Like, I think it was on SBG's podcast that I was listening to. 50 talked about the fact that sometimes all he is an overglorified babysitter. Like, these guys are like, he's taking care of these, realistically, they're kids, I mean, yes, they're 15, 16, 17, but they are kids that are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And they're broadcasting to hundreds of thousands of people. And he is just in a position where he can guide them, stop them from making mistakes, stop them from doing stupid shit, make sure that they're maintaining their brand and Dignitas's brand and securing longevity for their career and all of that stuff. And like, that was a role that I took on very seriously too. And I've had several opportunities to do that. And I think that is something in just the general infrastructure of Fortnite, but also esports in general, is like, we need to be aware that these are just kids and they're going to make mistakes. And what we should do as the older people in the scene and in the space is try to help with that, to be mentors, to be figures that, direct them in the right direction. And like, Cooper is a great example. I love his parents. They actually, I mean, dude, they were texting you and Jank like, hey, we saw what Cooper did on stream. He said this thing. We don't approve of that. We're going to correct it. And they actually did. Like, they took disciplinary action, and it's helped Cooper so much in the long run. He's learned, not to make the same mistakes over and over again. He's become so much better of a creator and a person and all of that stuff. And I think every single person in that pro player or content creator, like that celebrity position in esports, needs those people. And I think the older people act like younger kids, and they need to start, like, they need to shape up and be an adult and take some responsibility for those around them that don't have the same decision-making abilities and don't have the same, future sight that we do. So that's something that I want to encourage. And I think in org culture, especially, I think everyone, like, I try to be that for the people on my rosters.
Even the owners, it doesn't matter. Like,
yeah, for sure. And I think that was one thing about PL, classic PL, that I thought we actually did really well, was that we really did care about those kids. We cared about their well-being. And like, I mean, dude, I know that if one of the people on our roster had come to me and said that, hey, I got this really good offer, and they're offering me this and this, and I truly believe that it was a better deal than like what PL was giving them, I would tell them straight up, yeah, I think you should do it. Like, things of that nature, where it's like, I want what's best for them at the end of the day, more so than I want their business or what I can reap from them.
Always love up.
Yeah, and it's just, it's like, your morals and your compassion and kindness should come first. Before business and all that stuff. And I feel like so many people are exploiting these younger pros and content creators instead of guiding them into the young men and women that they should be. And I think it's a massive failing of the esports industry.
Yeah, I mean, I still have I talk to a couple of these pros still. They come to me every single time they need something. Like, hey,
Yeah.
is this right? Hey, do you have a minute to talk? I need to talk. I need to just lay stuff out of my chest.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Virgo's a very good example. I mean, the kid does not
Love
stop
Virgo.
bothering me every single day.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Jack and Avaf. Like,
Yeah.
Jack goes to Avaf all the
Yeah.
time.
I think every Virgo tweet I've seen now has something to do has your at in it.
Yeah, of course,
Nah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
No,
it's just,
Which
good.
shows how much he relies.
I
Which
mean,
shows-
it's just
shows
like I've had he's had a lot of org offers. I just don't believe in the orgs
Yeah.
because he
Yeah,
tells me, I want something that's going to last. I just don't want to be in a team for 3 months. So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I haven't found you a team because all these teams are going to end you in 3 months.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Someone like Virgo, maybe he hasn't reached his full potential yet, but
Mhm.
he's a kid that cares about growing a brand. Like he'll
Yeah.
do every
Yeah.
single video. He was there for every single video.
Yeah. 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 No, I do. I think more people should take on that role. The older people in the space. You know, pass any wisdom that you can. Be in relationship with these
Yeah.
people. I know I have
I mean, Cooper,
several younger
Cooper is
kids.
the same thing.
Yeah,
He used to come to me all the time.
I have several kids that reach out to me, creators and pros and whatnot, like that DM me all the time, DM me for advice, just like, you know, they need an ear or they need advice or they need, you know, whatever. Like, dude, I have one guy who like comes to me about like religious stuff especially, and he's like, hey, I have a question about this, and like he knows that I was a youth pastor at one time, and like it's this really cool relationship that I've been able to garner with him. You know, where he really trusts me with that type of stuff. He trusts me with life and spiritual advice, and like that's so cool to me. That's more valuable to me than
I
most
also
of what
think
I've done
that
in the space.
that'll fix the problem of kids of brands coming in and seeing that.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck
for sure.
no, I don't want to be involved in that because I feel like the older pros and especially just the role models like Clicks. You know, Aussie Antics is really good role model to these kids. Like he tells them, like, you know, I don't think that's right. You know, but do what you want, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do think I think you make a good point. I think the older pros, especially, and the biggest figures in the space, need to start taking that responsibility seriously. I think a lot of them haven't grown up, and I think they need to like grow up and kind of be
we talked about this a year ago, and it's still a concurrent problem that needs to be fixed.
It's probably
going
to continue for time to go on.
Yeah, of course.
Again, as more pros and players come to the space, like we say, they're getting older.
I mean, you have
also the new ones.
You have kids starting trust funds or not trust funds. Sorry, GoFundmes and fucking lying about their friends dying.
Yeah,
like
they're just not mature. At the end of the day,
you have this girl drama that's about a fucking video game. Like, bro, like if you guys were in person, you guys wouldn't say shit to each other.
Yeah. And that's
just cat fights over Twitter is not good for your brand.
Yeah, no, and I feel like it's a big culture thing. And I actually, this is something that, so when I was at that youth coaching job that I did for a while, this was something that I tried to implement. I was like, can we push for Fort weeklies? So Smash has this, you know, like they have a weekly, a regional, and then like a major and a super major, the 4 categories of tournaments. And you know, a weekly is like, you know, within a couple, like within your city or within, you know, a radius of a certain amount of square miles, where it's like your immediate area. You know, it's like a restaurant or a PC cafe or something that hosts a weekly Smash tournament every week. So you have people, like this group of people that you know are going to be there every week, and you're building community with them, and you're interacting with them, and you're going to eat afterwards, all of that stuff. And then you have your regionals where you're probably driving a couple hours, staying at, you know, a buddy's house or a hotel or something. Then you have your majors, and those are like, you know, a couple times a year where like everyone comes together for these massive events. I pushed so hard. I was like, if there's any way that we can do anything like that for Fort, I would want it so badly, because I feel like with Smash, yes, you have the online toxicity and stuff, but it's lesser because there's actual real community happening at the weeklies, at the regionals. Oh no, did I lose him again? Dude, I don't know what's going on tonight.
You're good now. You're good now.
But like you have actual community and camaraderie happening at the regional level, at the weekly level, at the major level. Like people know each other, they're seeing each other frequently. Like, and I was starting to get this a little bit with certain people that were like going to dream hacks and going to, you know, the events, but like it's a small group of people, especially in the Fort scene. I feel like if there was more like small tournaments or there was just more like lands per year or whatever, more events that people could attend, especially in the US, I feel like it would start to, like, if they just got out of their rooms, got off the internet environment and saw each other in person. Like, dude, I cannot tell you how many people I had like some kind of internet beef with, where it's like they were like holding on to something and then I saw them in person and fucking squashed. Like it didn't exist anymore. And I saw so many other people that like, oh, I have beef with this person, and then as soon as I see them in person, they're buddy and they became like the best of friends. Like so much shit. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Call of Duty, shit talk's always been a thing, right? It'll never go away. It'll, you know, that's okay. You know, that's completely fine. You know, brands are gonna have to understand that shit talk is a thing.
It's not gonna change.
I feel like if you're hosting everything online, though, right? Mm-hmm. It's harder for brands to see how an environment would be in LAN, because you see, those representatives that sponsor those events show up. They show up. They look around, and then they go to their meeting after it, and they go, "Oh, you know, environment was awesome. Like, all these people are very nice. You know, they're very passionate."
Fortnite LAN environment is the exact opposite of what it's like online. Like it is. It's so
everybody's
supportive.
chilling.
It's so cool. Everyone was buddy, man. Like there was not like
you see somebody end game, everybody would be quiet around the person, and it was fucking just, they were just watching like all amazed. Like
when I went to Raleigh for Invitational 2 years ago at this point, like I don't think there was a person in that venue I could have been mad at or had like an issue with. Like because we were just the feeling, the euphoric feeling of knowing that we were all there for the same reason, that we all had the same interests, and that we were all trying to do the same things, was like, it just put you on this like high, this natural high. And just everyone got along. Like I said, I saw beefs instantaneously squashed. Like people would see each other, make eye contact, and I know that they had crazy online beef, and they'd just be like, "Yo, what's up, man?" Like, and they start talking, and they realize like shit's not that deep. Like I don't think there's been an instance on LAN where I've seen people realize that the beef was worth it. Like, and so it is. It's just like
it's harder to like get points and like tones across in text messages too.
Yeah,
like
for sure. And just shit gets so exaggerated, it gets so brought out. It like, and it is. It's like, you know, I think a lot of people in real life, if they're in their personal situations, they had the ability to like block someone IRL. I do think a lot of friendships would break and shit like that, because if you can just cut them off instead of being forced to work it out with them. Now, I'm not saying every single situation will work out, but I'm saying a great deal of situations will work out if people had to face them and had to talk it out. There would be, you know, some where it was like, yeah, nope, they just, you know, whatever happened. Like
there's that one clip of Peterbot and Clicks, right? Peterbot said some shit online. And Clicks came up to him and
you
was
wouldn't
like,
say it to my face.
"Oh, you wouldn't say it to my face." And Peterbot stood up. You know, it was, and then Clicks was like, "You know what? Fair enough."
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
Yeah.
No, I do. But I think that building real community that is at like outside of the internet environment and the online environment would be so helpful and beneficial to that. And that's something that I do feel like is one of the key missing ingredients from the sports industry, or from traditional sports, that is missing in esports, is that brotherhood, that camaraderie, that like, I know like all the guys that I grew up playing football with, dude, we were brothers. We could call each other for anything. They all, you know, like we all called each other by our last names, and like we all, you know, we all had group chats with each other, and like we all pushed each other to be better people, better men, better players, because we were seeing each other all the time. We were practicing together, like we were hanging out, we were going to get meals afterwards. Esports, like, you know, a lot of these kids who are competing have never met their teammates in person. Like they don't know their real name, like all of this stuff. And like I understand some of the barriers that exist and anonymity online and all that stuff. But I do feel like in the esports space, I do feel like that lack of personal relationships is a detriment to the quality of esports. And I feel like the competitive product would be improved if that in-person camaraderie and bonding were to happen.
Yeah, I agree. 100% agree.
I understand that.
I think I'm out of topics, Vishal.
I think we burned out of all of it, even though we didn't even cover all the ideas. I think we just burned out just naturally going through them.
Oh, I think we talked. I think we talked about everything. I mean, I guess the only one that we didn't like hit on the dot is I feel so part of this video that I was watching, this like mini documentary on this guy who his whole thesis was that
I know exactly what documentary you're talking about, because
do you?
That's where I got my idea of building a story. Every single organization needs a story.
Yeah. And that's what I was going to talk about is it, and
that's
like
why
that,
basically, so me and you obviously Jane, what's it called, Jatmon is going to be part of a building pipeline backup, right?
In the future,
Jake,
yeah.
I've been telling them that I have an idea with Jake about building a story and giving a story to this brand right here, right? And then Jammin is like, we should involve everybody. I'm like, no, we need to just involve Jake right now. And then later, and then the thing is, with that video, it will involve everybody because it will have clips of our successes, of the people involved, the people who are helping this brand. Like, it's just, but the thing is, it'll mean more if it just comes out of one voice. Out of the voice that respectively made the brand and wants it to succeed the most. You know what I mean? Everybody will be involved. He will tell everybody's story. Everybody who's being involved. Everybody who's trying to make this a success. You know what I mean? And it clips the world through of like Cooper winning or like second place. Going to Copenhagen. I have old footage of Jank being super excited that we're gonna use for that, right? We have clips from our LAN podcast that we did that one time, right? I'm using all that. Like, that's all gonna be used, right? It's all gonna tell a story. It's gonna involve everybody that's gonna be part of that story. It's just, and it'll mean the brand will have a meaning. It's not gonna just be a logo. So when people look at it, this is who they are. This is what they want.
Yeah, no, I mean, and because the whole point of that section of the video that we're both referring to is like, the grave mistake that has been had in esports orgs is that their brand and their story is completely dependent. Their identity is rooted in whoever's on the roster, which is not a permanent thing.
No.
If you take that player or that content creator out of the equation, the fan
not only
base
work
is going to go with them.
Not only work with Optic.
So, what you have to do, and it's not saying that you can't use content creators and players to build your brand, but there has been a lack of attention to the brand of the organization as a whole. And this is where we've kind of put it this way in the past of like, you need to treat the organization as if it's its own content creator. Where you're treating it like that, your YouTube uploads, your Twitter uploads, Instagram, or whatever social medias you're using. Everything is a campaign for your brand. Now, yes, you have the added thing of like including all of your members and helping to boost their brand.
Your members are just a collaboration to your content, your creation.
Because they're borrowed at the end of the day. That is the reality is they're contracted for only a certain amount of time. There's no guarantee that they stay for the long run. Now, obviously, you want to encourage that. So there's a synthesis, there's a symbiosis there, where yes, like the more associated that somebody can become with your brand, that both of those become stronger. Absolutely. Like I think Tens with Sen, I think that's a great example. Like Sen Tens is like synonymous now. Like you can't think of Tens without thinking of Sentinels, and vice versa, I think. So, and I think those bonds, like the stronger and longer that you can have those, that's a great thing. But at the end of the day, you can't neglect the organization as a content creator. You can't neglect that brand, and the biggest part of that is people. It's you need people to buy into people. You need people to buy into the story. You need people to know who you are. If you're just a bunch of faces or titles or what have you, and they have no idea about like the struggles and all of that. I mean, dude, like that's
the one thing every single big org has, in common. They, FaZe is the FaZe OG guys, right?
Yeah, everyone knows the story of FaZe.
This was Scump. It's a Scump, right? And 100 Thieves is Nate Shaw, Courage, right? Then you have Cloud9. You know what I mean? Cloud9 was big because of Shroud, and then Shroud left, and they're still big because of the other guy they just got.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the big thing, right? And like in this documentary, they went over Team Liquid's founder and his story. And dude, like his story is so cool. He
He
traveled
was
to Korea
he competed.
to play StarCraft 2, and he was literally getting hundreds of dollars, like nothing, sleeping on the floor, and he did this for 6 months, and then he like turned that into like that was the beginning of the domino effect that started Team Liquid into what it is today. Um, and to be completely honest with you, in watching that documentary and learning that, I am a much bigger fan of Team Liquid now. Like
Yep.
because I have something to invest in. I have an understanding of, oh, that guy struggled the way I'm struggling. You know, I understand that. That's the human condition in us that we want to cling on to so desperately. And that's what orgs have failed to do. And that's what, you know, hopefully will be done in the future, and that will be rectified. But yeah, it's a massive business thing. You need branding, and it needs to be personable and relatable.
Yep.
And it can't be,
Yeah.
especially with esports, it can't be corporate feeling, and it can't
Yeah,
be, you know,
'cause-
all that stuff.
Every single org has a story. Every single player has
Yeah.
a story. Every single content creator has a story.
Yeah. And I mean, that was, you know, stories are why we started this podcast, to tell things like that, to tell those stories and all that stuff. I mean, we had Jank on, and like, it was very illuminating for me to understand more of his roots and his experience and stuff like that. Like, and all org owners, like, I think all of them
Yeah.
have a very unique story, like how they got there and all of that stuff. I would have not known anything that I known about Vaft until we had him on. Like, we've had some really cool experiences, opportunities with that stuff. And it's the fundamental part of all of us, is to want to relate to one another and be in relationship with one another. And that's what makes competing and all that stuff so strong. And you see this in professional sports all the time.
Oh yeah.
They
yeah.
capitalize on it so well, and they tell the stories, and they, you know, make so much around them.
The story start you know, at the drafts. Like look
Yeah.
at CJ
Yep.
Stroud, like one of the biggest stars now.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And the Texans are like apparently like the fourth running team now to actually
Yeah.
win the Super Bowl, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All
You know,
right.
it's
Well,
just-
so
it takes just as much work.
so what can we
gotta work on yourself.
see from you in the coming months? You know, what's
So,
on the horizon for you?
Pipeline.
Mhm. Yeah. That's kind of the big one.
Like
Pipeline?
that's it. No, I'm kidding.
Pipeline.
I'm competing in Call of Duty as well.
Yes,
That's
sir.
doing right. I've seen
Yeah.
that. We had thoughts about that.
Pretty good on that. Top 32 right now. Top 32 team. Unfortunately, we can't show up to lands because we can't fucking just pay for everything.
Is this like a league of some kind? Like, how does this work?
So we play leagues, but we also play the Challenger Circuit.
And what is that?
The Challenger
Enlighten me.
Circuit is so the CDL is biggest column is the league. You see all the big teams play.
Yeah.
The second one is the challengers. The third is the fans.
Okay.
If you didn't know that,
Okay.
that's what the CDL logo stands for.
So
I've been explaining this to this.
challengers is a way to
Challengers
kind
is
of like the
basically
VCT lowers.
Your Pro 2 path.
Okay. So you're competing to try and get a spot in.
Yeah, you're competing to prove that you deserve a spot out of the 48 players in the league.
Okay. Oh,
So
interesting. Okay.
it's basically just to breed it to form you into getting used to playing with these pro players I've been playing for years, but also like it shows your worth getting paid a salary, and you're worth getting part of the best 48 players in the world.
Okay.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
you're developing yourself
Makes
as
sense.
you play that. Then it's
Okay.
just those
So
cups
it's
just
like
help you.
it's kind of like the minor leagues, like for baseball. It's like
Yeah, kind of like
Okay.
minor leagues. You want to show your best stats. You want to show your best, show best teamwork, best comms, etc.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
It's very good. I just don't like how Activision neglects it. But hopefully Microsoft does a better job.
Yeah. Well, okay. I think that's everything today.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys check out Sad on his socials. We'll leave his Twitter down below. Go ahead and give him a follow for all the updates on everything that's going on with him, with the revival of Pipeline on the horizon, all of that fun stuff. And we'll catch y'all in the next episode with a guest or not. Vishal and I are going to try and get to weekly installments, just
We'll try our
covering
best.
esports and Fortnite and
We'll
Twitch
try
and
our
all
best,
that.
no problems.
Life gets in the way. I was just on vacation for like, 10 days or whatever. So stuff gets in the way, but we're gonna do it to the best of our ability. Thank you for tuning in to Ghost Comms. You can get us on every platform where you get your podcasts and YouTube for the video version as well. And we will see you in the next installment.
August
Later,
comes
everybody.
sooner.